now we're over to the question and answer session. I think quite a few have been coming through. I think Sam Williams, our communications officer, is going to read out some of your questions, and we have a panel made up of partners from Elite Agoriad, or Wales People First and Learning Disability Wales, who will be answering your questions. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So the first question I've got is from Daniel Wade, and it's about whether or not participants need to be claiming benefits in order to be eligible for the project. So I was just wondering if someone from Elite or Agoriad could just come in and answer that.
No, you don't have to be claiming benefits, as long as you meet the criteria for the age range and you have a diagnosis of disability, or you're on the autistic spectrum, or have autistic spectrum disorder. Benefits are a no thing to us. You can, if you're claiming them, we can give you benefits advice on how to remain safe when you go into work. But if you're not on benefits, that's not a problem either. I hope that answers your question. That was a nice simple one, actually.
Thank you, Sarah. So Sally Ann has asked if ambassadors are paid. Geraint, could you answer that one, please?
Of course. Hi, thank you for your question, Sally Ann. Yes, the ambassadors are paid. I work 16 hours a week. However, the ambassadors only work 8 to 10 days a year. That's because, like I mentioned, they already have jobs currently, as well as the ambassador role. So the simple answer to your question is yes, the ambassadors are paid.
Thank you, Geraint. Ethan asked about whether or not Engage to Change is available in Powys, and there was some issue around contracts and whatever. So I just wondered again if someone from Elite could just confirm. Well, Powys is a bit of a strange one because half of Powys is covered by Elite, the South, and half of Powys is covered by Agoriad. So if Robin could discuss North Powys and someone from Elite, Sarah, could discuss.
Ethan, we do have a service in South Powys. We cover the South Powys area. And we have staff that cover that area. So if you are interested in working with us and you are in South Powys, we're welcome to take referrals from you. I'll hand over to Robin now for North Powys.
Yes, obviously we cover the north of Powys, so a rough line from Llandrindod Wells across. Anything north of that is really where we would support an individual. So anything to the north of Llandrindod Wells would be a referral to Agoriad. Anything south of there would be for Elite. Diolch.
Thanks both. Hugh Davis has got a question, and it's actually, I think, directed at the young people, but I'm not sure the young people are actually on, because obviously they provided their videos, but it's asking about how their school prepared them for further education, training and employment, and about their experiences in school or college.
I just want to remember at the time, like for me starting school, that was one of the first times where sort of, for me having Asperger's, it was quite uncommon then. So I suppose it was all a learning curve really. So for me, like over 18 years of being in school, like I went to 9 different schools in total. So every setting's been different. They've all had their own sort of systems in place. So each one's been like a different experience, but overall it's sort of that's how they've learned and here we are now sort of thing.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay.
So Glyn Jones has said that his daughter's about to start a life skills course at Coleg Menai in September. Would it be an idea to involve her with Engage to Change now, or would it be better to wait until the end of the course? Robin, could you answer that, please? Or Fionn?
Yes, please do make contact with us now, and obviously we can work with you to see how we can maybe support further on, maybe when she finishes in college, and also we can work with the college as well to plan ahead. I'm aware there's a couple of people from Coleg Menai on this event, so we can always work together like that.
Thank you. There's a question from GM Banks around supporting and working people with sensory impairments. I'm not sure exactly, there isn't any more detail than that in the question, but whether or not, I assume it's whether or not we work with people with sensory impairments, which we would do. I don't know if anyone from Elite or Agoriad would want to come in about how the project has supported anyone with a sensory impairment.
I haven't. I'm just trying to think now. In South Wales, we haven't had anybody specifically with any sensory loss, but we do have another project where we work with people with sensory loss, both visual and hearing. So we would probably look across two projects and see which would be the most relevant for that person. It would be all done personally centred. But I can't think of any examples at the moment. The majority of our participants have no sensory loss. But as Sam said, as long as they meet all of our other criteria, we are more than happy to work with somebody with a sensory loss.
Thank you. Zoe Strutt has asked, what advice or support could you give to further education colleges in finding placements for learners during this time of uncertainty and disruption?
We will always help people if they approach us, and we will give advice where we can, which I think is good. And we work closely with a number of the colleges, especially in Rhondda, Cynon Taf, Cardiff and Bridgend. So we're always here for advice, although specifically we are working with people who are NEET, as we mentioned at the beginning, who are not in educational training. But that's not to say that if you gave us a call and you needed some information, that we wouldn't help you.
Thank you. Rachel has asked, how do we contact Geraint and the other ambassadors? Geraint?
Okay, well, very easy actually. Sam, if there's somehow you could give, who asked the question? Sorry, Sam.
That was Rachel, but I can put it on the chat.
Brilliant, thanks, Sam. Yes, please, Sam, you could give Rachel my email address. We can start networking there. But usually the way it works is the public contact me, and then if there's any events, then that is when I engage with the ambassadors.
Thank you, Geraint.
Thanks, Sam.
Claire Campbell has asked, do we work with all individuals who have a learning disability? For example, you know, from mild learning disability to severe or more complex?
Yes, we do. It's a simple answer. Yes, we do. We would just tailor what we did around the needs of that person. So everything would be personal centred. So we would look at all the needs of that person and what they require to get them into work, and we would put the training in place and whatever support that was required.
Thank you. Another one for you, actually, Sarah. You mentioned an accredited COVID training course. Yeah. And Abby Baker has asked, is this about supporting young people in the workplace? How much is it, and how can we access this course?
The course that we have that we're devising at the moment is primarily for our Engage to Change participants who have been out of work or are still in work and need support on training. So initially it's going to be used for our participants who have had temporary suspensions or been furloughed in order to make them safe going back into the workplace. And we're going to continue this with any new participants that come in who we're finding employment opportunities for over the coming months, because this isn't going to go away overnight. And we're actually going to be delivering it to our staff as well. As for outside of Engage to Change, I think that would be a question that perhaps you should call us in the office at our office. And it may be that if you had a group of people that needed that training, I don't know if that's something that we could organise. But I think that give us a call if you're outside Engage to Change. Perhaps we could have a chat behind the scenes and see if there's anything we could do.
Jack Nelson has said that using the Zoom platform has been just as good as having a home visit. Would you now consider using this for future use after the pandemic? So that's for Agoriad.
Well, I think we're all on a learning curve with all this social media and so on. I think it's a very good platform, and I think, you know, staff using these sorts of technologies to support our young people will be something that we'll be using post-COVID and moving forwards. Definitely, Jack, yes.
Thank you. Obviously, everyone's different, and some people, you know, might prefer a Zoom chat or whatever, and some people might prefer a home visit. So, you know, and that's the whole point of Engage to Change, is it's tailored to the individual's needs and preferences. Obviously, at the moment, we're very restricted that we can kind of only do the Zoom thing, but once things get back to normal, that will be something that will be discussed with young people on their preference. Marie Crocker has asked, do we have a waiting list, and roughly how long does it take from referral to getting support? So again, if I could ask both Agoriad and Elite to come on this, please. Could someone from Elite first, please?
Yeah, it is a little bit different at the moment, because of the pandemic. When we take a referral, what's been happening is they are contacted initially by Sue Price, who handles all of our referrals now, and they will have a consultation either over the phone or virtually. We then would have to carry out an assessment, which is very hard to do virtually. So we are waiting for us to be able to meet with people face to face in order to do that. But that's not to say that we couldn't do a couple of other things virtually anyway. What we try and do is work with people as quickly as possible. We have a number of job clubs that run across the South Wales area. So as soon as somebody is referred, they come into us for an assessment, and then we will start to deliver courses and things like that with them while we're looking for placement opportunities, so that we can make sure that they're work ready before we actually put people out in the public. Does that make sense? So historically, I know we did have a little bit of a waiting list when we first started on Engage to Change. This was because it was a new project and a lot of people wanted to be involved. But because we have now set up job clubs in a lot of areas, we are working with a lot more people more effectively. So the wait is going to be a lot less. But obviously at the moment we are guided by government guidelines, and we will look to be opening our job clubs now when it's deemed safe. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I'm not sure if it's the same in North Wales. If someone from Agoriad could just come in on sort of referral times and waiting lists.
Yes, it's very similar. We're looking at a couple of weeks from the initial contact to, you know, trying to contact the young person. So it's a couple of weeks between those, really. Obviously, these days we're using telephone contact to do that rather than face-to-face. There's certain forms that we have to complete that we use tablet forms for rather than paper forms and so on. But it's, yeah, a few weeks.
Thank you. So there's another question about referrals that I think I can probably answer is how do people refer? Is there a form, and can people wanting support contact you themselves? Yes, people can self-refer. So they can contact Engage to Change directly, and then we will give you the relevant contact details, because, as I say, it's South Wales, South Powys and South Ceredigion would be Elite. And then North Wales, North Powys and North Ceredigion is Agoriad. So if you contacted Engage to Change, that we would ask you, you know, where you lived, and then we would give you the contact details for either Elite or Agoriad, and then people can either phone or email either organisation, and then that starts the referral process. Okay. Ethan has asked, do we use BSL or Makaton to communicate? I'm not sure on that one. I say it because Sarah said that they haven't had anyone with a sensory impairment. Probably haven't used BSL, but I don't know. Because does anyone know if we're able to support someone using BSL or Makaton?
We do have a couple of our staff who use some BSL. And I believe there is another staff member who can deliver Makaton. So if the need arose, I'm sure we could try and find a way around it. Otherwise, I think with BSL, if we didn't have anybody available, perhaps we'd actually look to get an interpreter in. But that's something we could look at with regards to when we're personally centering around that person as to how we plan to work with them.
Thank you. Sally Ann has asked about the role of DFN Project Search. I don't think there's anyone from Project Search on today, but I was just wondering maybe if you could just give a quick outline of the Project Search element.
Yes, that's fine. So Project Search originally came over from America. It was a program that was developed over there, and then started to be delivered across England and Scotland. And when Engage to Change started back in 2016, we started working together with DFM Project Search to set up some Project Search sites in Wales. So we currently have 3 Project Search sites. So we have the license for those sites, and each one of those sites is a partnership between an FE college, a host employer, and Engage to Change. We provide the supported employment job coaching element for each of those sites. So in North Wales, we have Project Search at Ysbyty Gwynedd, and we work together with Coleg Llandrillo Menai. In Bridgend, we have a site at the Princess of Wales Hospital Bridgend, and we work with Bridgend College. And then in Cardiff, we have a site at Cardiff University, working with Cardiff and the Vale College. So in North Wales, Agoriad provide the supported employment and job coaching, and the 2 South Wales sites is actually Elite. In addition to that, we have a couple of supported internship programs that we've set up outside of the Project Search. One of those is with Coleg Cymoedd in RCT and with RCT local authority. We're in the process of developing one at Coleg Went. And in North Wales, they've been looking at doing something slightly differently, a rural internship, but again with, I believe, with Coleg Llandrillo Menai. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Angela. So we're coming to the end now, so I've just got one more question from Anne-Marie, who says that she works with parents and carers of individuals with learning disabilities in Carmarthenshire, and would it be possible to arrange a talk with some of the parents and carers to come and talk with them about what we do? So I just wondered if someone from Elite could answer that, please.
Yeah, if she makes contact to Elite, to either myself or Stacey Baker, my other team leader, perhaps that's something we can look to arrange. I mean, obviously at the moment, I think that'll probably be virtually. But if she can make contact with us, perhaps we can have a look at arranging something like that with her.
Thank you very much.